Hi everyone, welcome back to another recap video. This show is about a world is filled with supernatural creatures and people start to see them due to a virus. Not only this, but the future generation get power up thanks to the virus, which they use to fend off dangerous creatures known as phantoms. People get rewards for hunting down abnormal phantoms, so that where our hero comes in, who tags along with his friend to handle the trouble these stray phantoms cause. The show opens with a young boy being awakened by a small creature. The boy, named Haruhiko Akiju, is startled to find that it's already daylight. After quickly getting ready for school and putting on his uniform, he rushes to catch the train, with the creature named Ruru urging him on. Haruhiko attends Hose Academy, a private school he recently transferred to. He's an avid reader and has already exhausted the school library's book collection. This unique school covers all grade levels from elementary to high school in one location. After school, Haruhiko takes his usual route home but unexpectedly ends up at a cemetery. As he tries to figure out his location, he notices several phantoms in the area with a girl sitting among them. The girl, Rina Izumi, politely asks him not to stare and proceeds to consume all the phantoms around her. Haruhiko realizes that she is a phantom eater, someone with a special ability. Impressed by her remarkable power, Haruhiko approaches her and awkwardly invites her to join the phantom hunting club at his school. However, his forwardness leaves Izumi bewildered, and she decides to leave. In her haste to depart, Izumi trips on the stairs and Haruhiko tries to assist her, but ends up with her on top of him, accidentally revealing her underwear. Embarrassed, Izumi reacts by forcefully pushing him to the ground before making her exit. The next morning at school, Haruhiko approaches Izumi again, this time earnestly asking her to join the phantom hunting team due to her rare ability. Still not fully convinced, Izumi declines his offer. However, before leaving, Haruhiko offers to treat her at the school cafeteria. To his surprise, Izumi turns out to have a hearty appetite. Even the stack of plates and bowls on the cafeteria table draws the attention of other students, making Haruhiko and Izumi the center of attention. Izumi explains that she had wanted to try the school cafeteria's food but changed her mind because she didn't have any allowance. Hearing this, Haruhiko tells her about an extracurricular club at school responsible for sealing or exterminating phantoms, with rewards given for completing tasks. After explaining the club's workings, Haruhiko asks for Izumi's decision. Since Izumi remains unsure, Haruhiko decides to take her to the club to see it for herself. There, she meets another student who partners with Haruhiko, Kawakami Mang, a second-year student at Hose Academy. Mang has just received a request from the supervisor to deal with utility pole phantoms. After preparing for the mission, Mi and Haruhiko invite Izumi to join them in hunting the phantom they discussed earlier. Haruhiko explains that these phantoms are Tsukimogami, spirits born from the anger of abandoned tools, providing detailed information that impresses Izumi. Mei, however, points out that despite his extensive knowledge, Haruhiko isn't particularly skilled at handling them. Haruhiko then devises a plan to seal the phantoms by showing them respect and engaging in a limbo dance. However, since the Tsukimogami remain unsatisfied, they must continue the limbo dance late into the night until they yield and allow Haruhiko and the others to proceed with sealing. After Izumi successfully consumes the phantom, Mei invites her to join the team, and she agrees. The utility pole that was previously possessed by the phantoms returns to its normal state. Once they finish stealing them, Haruhiko and his group return to school to report to their supervisor, Arisu Haimno. While there, Haruhiko notices a red-haired girl emerging from Haimno's room. The following morning, Haruhiko decides to improve his summoning skills at school since Izumi possesses the ability to seal phantoms. He's determined to become better, especially since Ruru hasn't revealed her full name to Izumi, making it challenging for her to recall. Soon after, the girl they encountered in the corridor the previous day also arrives at school. Her name is Koido Menes. Haruhiko extended a friendly greeting, but it went unnoticed by her. Furthermore, Haruhiko received information about Menes, who stood out among students possessing unique abilities, being above average in her prowess. More often than not, she tackled her assignments independently. Remarkably, she was even considered a potential candidate for the Phantom Control Agency. Around noon, Mrs. Haimo summoned Haruhiko's group to her room, informing them of their new assignment, to investigate an abandoned research facility owned by Alashiki Corporation. This facility had fallen into disuse due to a security robot's transformation into a phantom, causing numerous issues. Mrs. Haimo also disclosed that Menes had already made her way to the location solo. Undoubtedly, Menes' exceptional abilities made her well suited for the task at hand. Nevertheless, Mrs. Haimno wanted her to learn the importance of teamwork, hence the decision to dispatch Haruhiko and his team to the same location to assist in sealing the phantom. Meanwhile, elsewhere at the site, Menes was confronted by a group of robots upon her arrival. Brimming with confidence in her abilities, she attempted to cast a sealing spell, only for it to mysteriously dissipate, leaving her vulnerable to the robot's attacks. Fortunately, just as she found herself cornered, Haruhiko arrived on the scene, lending his aid and ultimately securing victory over the Phantom. With the situation improving, Izumi took the opportunity to introduce herself to Minnes, though Minnes seemed rather indifferent and opted to depart. Meanwhile, Ruru, driven by curiosity, approached one of the robots and retrieved an object from it. After completing their tasks at the research facility, Mi and Izumi made a stopover at Haruhiko's house for some cleaning. Once everyone had gathered, Ruru shared the intriguing discovery that she had obtained a console from one of the robots at the factory. It displayed a mysterious running code before shutting down. As night fell, Mei and Izumi bid their farewells. The following morning, in the Phantom Hunting Club room, Haruhiko revealed his frustration with the console, which remained unresponsive even after he had recharged its battery. To return it to La Shiki, he needed to have it repaired first. Intrigued, Izumi inquired about his sketching activities. Haruhiko explained that he aimed to enhance his summoning abilities, which had fallen far behind Izumi's. Moreover, he aspired to craft a new spell to complement his unique skill, given the dwindling number of people capable of summoning phantoms with a concise incantation. Just then, Jaime arrived to assign them their next task, this time originating from the girls' dormitory adjacent to the academy. They wasted no time heading there, only to discover reports of a UFO hovering around the dorm, taking unauthorized photographs of female students during their private moments. Izumi and Mei devised a plan to discreetly usher Haruhiko out of the room. Soon after, the UFO reappeared, causing chaos within the room as it resumed its intrusive photography. After being kicked out repeatedly, Haruhiko finally tapped into his unique ability to summon his phantom. Initially, his phantom faltered, but it eventually managed to apprehend the UFO. The sealing process began with Izumi taking charge by engulfing the UFO. In the aftermath, Izumi noticed that Haruhiko had a bleeding finger, which miraculously healed instantly. This revelation astonished everyone, including Izumi herself, who had only just discovered this aspect of his ability. Following this incident, Haruhiko and his companions extended their apologies to the girls for the room's disarray. Several days later, despite the absence of school, Himeno-sensei summoned Haruhiko's group for a new assignment. As they made their way to the train station, Mei privately resolved to make amends for the frequent failures their group had encountered, beginning with that day's mission. On the train, Mei revealed that their task involved sealing phantoms that frequently provoked pedestrians during the twilight hours. Upon arriving at a familiar bridge, Mei experienced a sense of déjà vu, but before she could contemplate further, two phantoms assumed human forms and launched an assault, claiming they had been awaiting her. Mei attempted to defend herself, but the phantoms outmaneuvered her. Witnessing Mei in dire straits, Haruhiko made the decision to summon his phantom Marchoja, rescuing Mei from the perilous situation. The following school day, Haruhiko and his group discussed their encounter with the phantoms on the bridge. Mei surmised that the phantoms might be targeting her due to her unique abilities. However, she recognized that relying solely on her for frontline defense during a return engagement at the bridge would be perilous. To rectify this, Mei proposed teaching Haruhiko and Izumi martial arts, although mastering this discipline was far from easy. Haruhiko suggested an unconventional approach, copying Mei's martial arts memories and pasting them into his own memory using a technique he had previously devised. Mei initially found this idea strange and accused Haruhiko of evading the training, but Himeno-sensei overheard their conversation and deemed it worth trying. She pointed out that Haruhiko's rare ability to summon phantoms might extend to accessing the metaphysical storage server of human memory and copying it to himself. To test this hypothesis, they embarked on a trial at an amusement park, visiting places Mei had frequented since childhood. After a day of revisiting these locations, they arrived back at the fateful bridge where the two phantoms had previously confronted them. There, Mei recalled an encounter from her preschool days when she met two unknown children. Although they were strangers, they formed a strong bond, and Mei taught them martial arts. The phantoms from that day had been practicing and harboring a desire to defeat Mei ever since. In the heat of battle against the phantoms, an accidental collision between Haruhiko and Mei's heads resulted in Haruhiko gaining access to Mei's memories. When they regained consciousness, Haruhiko inquired about the phantoms they had just encountered, as he had seen them in Mei's memories during her preschool field trip. Mei had taught them martial arts, and they had continued practicing, leading to their eventual rematch with Mei and Haruhiko. Thanks to Haruhiko's newfound ability to replicate Mei's skills, they emerged victorious. The phantoms dissipated, leaving Haruhiko exhausted from the effort. At school, Himeno-sensei tells him that the memories he got from Mei will disappear in a few days. The scene moves to a restaurant where Izumi invites Mei and Haruhiko to an all-you-can-eat restaurant as a reward for destroying the bridge phantoms. Izumi is too engrossed in her food that she doesn't realize she has finished a lot of food. After finishing plates of food, they separate ways to return to their home. However, when she is waiting for a bus at the bus stop, Izumi spots a shadow of someone she knows riding a motorbike. Just then, a strange-looking bus stops and Izumi gets on the bus. She feels the time passes quickly, and somehow she's arrived in front of her house in an instant. The next morning at school, Izumi tells her friends about the incident. Menes, who just passed by, tells them that the bus May got on yesterday is a phantom, and Izumi is possessed by the phantom. Worried about what happened to Izumi, Haruhiko and Mei decide to wait for the bus along with Izumi and Menes, who also joins them. It is getting late, and the bus appears before them and opens its door. Izumi is already inside without they realize it. Fortunately, Haruhiko gets on the bus in time before it closes and the bus is gone. Meanwhile, at the bus stop, Menes tells Mei not to worry about them because they must come back. But if this continues to happen, it might be dangerous for their lives. Meanwhile, on the bus, Izumi is seen sitting like a person who doesn't have consciousness but remains blank, while Haruhiko begins to observe the surroundings. He feels that there is an oddity in the bus from the old-looking interior of the bus, and there is no driver behind the wheel, until finally the bus drops them both in a village. As Haruhiko thinks about what happened, Izumi has run straight into the house. Haruhiko watches them from outside and looks at Izumi sitting with rabbit couple. Seeing them, Haruhiko is certain that they are phantoms. He opens the doors and tells Izumi about them. However, after looking at him, they treat him like their son and offer him food. After joining in dinner, showering, and sleeping with rabbit family, the next day they return to school using the same bus. However, for some reason, they suddenly arrive in front of Izumi's house. Haruhiko, who has realized it, first looks at the clock on his cell phone. Strangely, a time shows the same time when they first got on the bus and didn't change at all. After that, Izumi goes into her house, leaving Haruhiko outside. The next day at school, Menes tells the others that she already knew that the Phantom is a type who hypnotizes humans and takes them into their world. Izumi then explains if her parents are clueless about she joining the Phantom Hunting Club. They think that Phantom is disgraceful and they don't allow her to get involved with Phantom. If they find out that she joins the club, she might be transferred to another school. Her sister even left the house due to their parents' strict attitude. After school, Haruhiko and Mei take Izumi back to the bus stop. Not long after that, the Phantom appears. Haruhiko immediately takes out his utensils. However, apparently both of them are still under the influence of the Phantom. They just got on the bus without they realize. Mei, who feels worried, follows them into the bus and enters the Phantom world. In the Phantom world, Mai had a heartfelt desire to reunite Haruhiko and Izumi with their childhood selves, who had returned home after an extended absence. They joyously spent their time together, but Haruhiko suddenly felt the need to use the restroom. Unexpectedly, when he excused himself and relieved himself, his consciousness returned. Haruhiko, now back in control of his senses, emerged from the restroom. He quickly urged Izumi to follow suit and break free from the Phantom's influence. As soon as Izumi realized the situation, she was startled to find Haruhiko before her and instinctively struck him in her surprise. Now that Izumi had regained her awareness, the Phantoms informed her that it was time for them to depart. They explained that because Izumi had regained consciousness, their presence was no longer necessary. However, they extended an open invitation to her, stating that if she ever wished to return, they would welcome her as their own child. With those words, the Phantoms bid their farewell, leaving the trio to return to the human world. The following day at school, Izumi took the opportunity to apologize to her friends for the trouble she had caused. She revealed that she had informed her parents about her involvement in the Phantom Hunting Club. The scene then shifted to the school cafeteria, where Haruhiko sat down for lunch with his friend Shasuke Naruhashi. Shasuke initiated a conversation about the girls in Haruhiko's circle. He also mentioned that Menes used to be a popular student in class, but had grown distant, leading others to avoid her. Coincidentally, Menes happened to pass by them, overhearing their discussion. Haruhiko and Shasuke attempted a friendly greeting, but she quickly walked away and chose a seat away from the crowd. After school, Haruhiko and his group noticed Menes heading toward a specific location. She had been assigned the task of sealing a phantom that frequently tormented animals at the school. Haruhiko decided to approach her to apologize for the cafeteria incident. When Menes arrived at the rabbit hutch, she found a young girl named Kurumi Kumamakura already there feeding the rabbits. However, their peaceful moment was abruptly interrupted as a phantom materialized in the air and launched an immediate attack. A short battle ensued between them. Just then, Haruhiko and others arrive at the site to help her. The phantom, who feels threatened, chooses to leave using the teleportation gate he had created. After the fight ends, despite not getting seriously injured, they head to the infirmary to get treatment. Everything runs quiet until Mines tells Haruhiko's group not to interfere with this affair because she will beat the phantom by herself. Hearing that, Mai, who was worried against her because she realized that Mine's special ability could not be used due to breathing problems that occurred during the previous fight. Finally, the commotion stops when Haimo-sensei comes and says that they shall compete to hunt down the phantom. Whoever manages to beat it will be the one who will get the reward. Mi agrees with that, while Mines leaves immediately without saying a word. On the other hand, Haruhiko, who is worried about Mines, says that he will help her in the phantom hunting this time, whilst Mai, who didn't want to lose, recruited Kurumi into her group. The scene moves to Haruhiko, who continues following Mines wherever she goes. She said that she has doubts if the phantom will return. Thus, she will start looking for it in the animal cages in other schools until after 3 hours has passed and the night falls they still haven't found the phantom. The next morning, Haruhiko visits Mines at her apartment and invites her to go to school together. They bump into Mei's group and their eyes meet for a quiet time and they start arguing. It is getting intense and Mines chooses to leave. Haruhiko follows her and they start walking down the street. Suddenly, Mines senses the phantom's presence, thus she hurries up to the site and engages in a fight with it. Disturbed by Mines and Haruhiko's presence, the phantom leaves again. Mines, who still hasn't given up, decides to look for it. Haruhiko wonders what to do until he realizes he has lost her. After searching for here and there and still not find the phantom, Haruhiko finally reports the incident to Himeno-sensei. In her room, Himeno explains that actually Mines' special ability arose because the phantom attacked the pets at school when she was little. At that time, Mines accidentally sealed it off. However, because of her strong ability, the teachers and her classmates were scared, including her parents. Thus, Mines left the house and was taken by the Phantom Control Agency, and since then, she has always been close and distant. Furthermore, Himeno said that even though the phantom had been sealed, there is a time when he would be released again. And perhaps for Mines, this phantom is the cause of her breaking up with her family and friends. It didn't take long before Haruhiko suddenly got a call from Ruru saying that she has found Mines. The scene moves to Mines, who is fighting against the phantom she has found. As Mines lay helpless and the phantom is getting ready to finish her, Archojas, the phantom summoned by Haruhiko, comes and manages to distract it. Haruhiko swiftly whisked Minace away from the scene just as Mei's group arrived to lend their assistance. Seizing the opportunity, Haruhiko promptly sealed the phantom into his sketchbook. Once the battle had concluded, at Haimo's guidance, Izumi attempted to use her healing ability to tend to Minace's injuries. The following morning, as Haruhiko was leaving for school, he encountered Minace in front of his house. She expressed her gratitude for his help and extended a heartfelt apology for her previous behavior. On another morning, as Haruhiko departed for school, he felt unusually drowsy due to a late night. Even during class, Ruru had to repeatedly nudge him to keep him awake. However, it soon became apparent that something peculiar was afflicting not just him, but others as well. During the break, Haruhiko and Shaosuke headed to the cafeteria to grab some food. From a distance, Haruhiko noticed Mai ordering fried fish and decided to order the same. Strangely, it seemed that everyone had developed an intense craving for fish that day, though they couldn't quite put their finger on why. Meanwhile, Minace, who chose not to eat the cafeteria, decided to take a nap on a bench outside. She felt an overwhelming sense of lethargy, making her disinclined to do anything productive. To shake off this unusual sensation, she went for a walk and eventually stumbled upon a peculiar-looking house. Excitedly, she shared her discovery with Haruhiko and the others. Mai explained that the house was known as the Cat Mansion, where numerous stray cats gathered, earning it its peculiar moniker. Shortly after, Kurumi approached them, seeking their assistance. She invited Haruhiko and his team to visit her house first, where she explained that her friend's cat had gone missing. Haruhiko and his friends readily agreed to help, planning to create flyers to post in various locations. The next day, while en route to school, Haruhiko confided in Ruru about feeling strange and experiencing unusual behaviors. He mentioned playing with insects, consuming fish food, and lounging idly at home akin to a cat's behavior. Upon arriving at school, he observed that many students now sported cattails and ears, even exhibiting feline-like behaviors. This transformation included Izumi, Mai, and Minace. Many suspected that a phantom at the Cat Mansion might be responsible, citing hearing a cat's voice and sensing a phantom presence. In response, they decided to investigate the Cat Mansion. Upon arriving, they entered the building and embarked on a search for Rudolph, the missing cat, and any clues regarding the phantom's whereabouts. Despite their efforts, they couldn't find anything until they unwittingly stumbled into a world of pentacles, encountering the embodiment of the phantom. Upon seeing it, Izumi and Kurumi feel that it isn't an evil phantom. It is just a lonely creature who wants to bring back the hustle-bustle in the house. Finally, because of mutual feelings, they finally return to its normal form. Apart from that, they also manage to find the lost cat, Rudolph, and bring him back. One morning, Haruhiko wakes up in a slightly different state. His body turns small and his memory when he had a normal body has also disappeared. None of the clothes he had suit to his small body. Thus he just puts anything on and goes to school. However, once he gets to the class, he doesn't recognize anyone and the people also don't recognize him. Therefore, Haruhiko decides to sit outside until finally Kurumi passed by and talks to him. Because they don't know what to do, at last Kurumi takes him to the staff room to check the data. However, when they check on the school registry, his name is not listed in the school data. Then, as he about to leave the staff room, Kurumi sees his bag and recognizes it is the same bag as Haruhiko's, and as well as its content. Thus, Kurumi takes little Haruhiko to meet Himno-sensei. There, Himno says that the Haruhiko in front of her right now is very similar to Haruhiko when he was little. But somehow he doesn't remember anything. Even the people who are there don't recognize him either. To figure out what happened, Himno asks Haruhiko's friends to go check on his house after school. In the afternoon, Izumi, Mai, and Menace head to Haruhiko's house to check on situation, but Menace doesn't feel the Phantom's presence in that house. Therefore, before Haruhiko returns to his normal size, he will stay temporarily with Mai. Since that day, Mai is always with Haruhiko, starting from studying, working, and even going to hunt the Phantom. One day, after coming home from school, Haruhiko sees a child playing with his parents in the park. It makes him think about his parents when they return to his house. Haruhiko, who is always speaking of for some reason he feels that he should respect Mai, who has taken care of him. More to her surprise, Mai admits that he has suddenly become an obedient child. When he is going to sleep, suddenly his raining hard and lightning comes striking. It makes little Haruhiko scared. Mai sues him, promising him to take him to the park tomorrow. The next day, they go to the park to play together. All of a sudden, a cat pooped on the sand and it triggered the rise of the Sandman Phantom. Mai tries to be the Phantom alone, but because her energy has drained, she is exhausted and unable to control her body. Seeing that, it infuriates Haruhiko, and in an instant, Haruhiko's body returns to its normal size. He then begins summoning his creation Phantom to end the Sandman. After things get better, Haruhiko apologizes for bothering Mai when he turns into a child. There, Haruhiko remembers that it is possible for him to return to his young age because he read a letter that has been written in the past. Before he could investigate further, his friends pay him a visit and he heads to open the door. As he leaves, Mai reads the letter that he meant. She tears up as she reads the letter. It turns out Haruhiko has lived alone since long because his parents had been divorced for a long time. It is likely that Haruhiko turned small because of his desire to feel the happiness that he had never felt. A few months have passed and now the number of people joining Haruhiko's group has also increased. Without they realize their team, which was previously at the bottom position, is now in the top rank among the teams at the club. While celebrating their achievement at a restaurant, Menace looks at the console that Haruhiko found at the research facility of the Alashiki company. Menace said it is a communication device, precisely the device to communicate between the Alashiki company's servers, without have special abilities walking on the street. They talk about a phantom that is after people with special abilities. Just then, a figure of an oddly dressed woman appears before them. Realizing she is a phantom, they try to beat her, but she can easily knock them out. The next morning, Himno-sensei conveys the news about the attack to the students who have special abilities. The type of the phantom is still uncertain, but one thing for sure, all the special abilities possessed by the victims were taken away without exception. Himno advises the students to avoid going home alone, and if they encounter the phantom, they would be better to run and avoid it. After school, Haruhiko and his group talk about the phantom, which is named Enigma, but suddenly they hear screams from a house, causing Haruhiko, Mai, and Menace run toward it. While Izumi is asked to bring Kurumi away from that place, arriving at the location, Haruhiko and others see 3 Hose Academy students fighting against Enigma. They are in a state of panic. The girl gets attacked and her entire energy and abilities are absorbed by Enigma and she falls helplessly. They who witnessing this incident immediately steps forward and attacks Enigma so that a fight ensues between them until finally Enigma is sealed into Haruhiko's. But as Mai is about to give a final blow, Enigma is vanished from his sketchbook, leaving Haruhaki and others in puzzle. The incident where Enigma disappeared from Haruhiko's sketchbook makes Haruhiko confused because it had never happened before. After the disappearance of Enigma, Haruhiko and others take the Angel Beach to the hospital that is affiliated with the Leishiki company. The 3 victims are declared healthy. It is just their abilities that disappeared without a trace. On the other hand, Izumi, who is talking to Haruhiko and Mai, says that if the victim's abilities still has not returned yet, it could mean that Enigma is still. Moreover, they are not sure whether they had succeeded in sealing her off or not. One day during summer vacation while repairing the console, Haruhiko gets a call from a woman whom Haruhiko realizes is his mother. They then make an appointment to meet at the park. Finally, Haruhiko meets his mother and they are involved in a conversation. However, because he still remembers his loneliness he has been through all this time, he becomes more silent. This leads his mother to suspect that Haruhiko still doesn't accept her. After talking for a while, his mother decides to leave. Doesn't want the past to happen again, he decides to chase her. The next morning, he wakes up smiling because his mother woke him up. They have breakfast and dry the clothes together. Everything runs well until a week has passed. Haruhiko is studying when Ruru says that their familiarity feels strange somehow. It is a bit odd how two people who had separated and suffered for so long become as close as they are now. However, Haruhiko doesn't seem to care about that. The scene switches to Mai, Izumi, Kurumi, and also Minace who are fighting the Sunflower Phantom. After successfully defeating him, Mai questions Ruru about Haruhiko's absence for a week. As she's about to explain the matter, unexpectedly across the street there is Haruhiko, who has just finished shopping with his mother. Minace tells everyone she feels a strange aura towards Haruhiko's mother. However, it is different from Phantom Aura because they don't understand what is going on. Mai then decides they will tell Hanmo-sensei and then head to Haruhiko's house. A moment later, they finally arrive at Haruhiko's house. While eating the food, Minace tries to observe the surroundings, but she still hasn't felt anything strange. Moreover, Izumi says that it is different from her previous Phantom family. In the middle of their conversation, Mai got a call from their parents, thus she walks away from the table and talks to her parents. Her mother says that she has received information about Haruhiko's mother's disappearance from her current husband. He reports that Haruhiko's mother has acted strangely and disappeared since a week ago. Mai, who heard this, is very surprised. She suspects it is Enigma's doing, right after she realized that suddenly Haruhiko's mother has stood behind her and hit her. The commotion leads the others to come. Enigma admits that she is interested with Haruhiko's wish. Moreover, Haruhiko also ability to get into others' mind, causing her want him so badly. Right after saying that, Enigma launches attack towards Haruhiko. Although he is detained by Minace, Enigma still manages to seize him. Meanwhile, Haruhiko, who is still shocked by what happened, just remains silent in disbelief until his abilities are taken away, and Enigma comes out of his mother's body and leaves them. For some reason, as Haruhiko lost his consciousness, Ruru at the same time also fainted. A few days after the incident at Haruhiko's house, Haruhiko has regained consciousness, while his mother is still being treated due to the side effect of Enigma, who had taken over her mind and memory. As he is about to leave the hospital, Haruhiko meets his mother's husband. They head outside to talk. The man says that he has known his mother since 2 years ago, and during that time he knows that his wife had complicated problems, but he didn't dare to ask her. Furthermore, he shows Haruhiko a book that his wife always looked at every day. Haruhiko is surprised receiving the book. After their conversation ends, Mai invites Haruhiko to visit Ruru and brings her favorite pudding. Upon their return to Haruhiko's house, Izumi and Kurumi sense a strange change in Ruru's behavior. Mai speculated that it might be related to Haruhiko's loss of abilities. Just then, Minace arrived and requested the console, urging Haruhiko to have it repaired promptly. She believed that Alishiki had hidden secrets from outsiders, and the device might hold the key to uncovering them. With the console in hand, they set out to hack into Alishiki's server to unearth critical information needed to combat Enigma. Kurumi suggested that Albert might be able to fix the console, as he had previously repaired her father's computer. Ultimately, they entrusted the device to Albert to initiate the repairs. With his extraordinary ability, Albert managed to restore the console, allowing them to successfully infiltrate Alishiki's system and uncover the truth about Enigma. The information revealed that Enigma was a highly fortified phantom designed to collect data on special abilities from students in various schools. This data was then used in research to artificially enhance phantoms by merging them with human DNA. The corporation's initial intention was to reduce costs for creating artificial soldiers in the military. However, Enigma had far greater power than anticipated, leading to her rebellion against the corporation. While they were absorbing this revelation, Minace received a call informing her that Enigma had appeared at Alishiki's central laboratory, where Haruhiko's mother was undergoing treatment. Upon learning this, they swiftly headed to the laboratory. Upon arrival, Haruhiko declared his intention to enter the building alone, prompting objections from the others. In the midst of the disagreement, Haimo arrived in her yellow car, offering them a ride to the location. She explained that Enigma likely aimed to collect phantom data from the hospital's research laboratory, given her current possession of Haruhiko's summoning ability. Enigma's ultimate goal was to control phantoms and exert dominance over humanity. As they arrive at the laboratory, Enigma appeared, leaving no choice but to engage in battle. Transforming into Haruhiko's mother, Enigma rendered Haruhiko incapable of fighting back, cornering them all. Haimo revealed that Ruru was a phantom embodying Haruhiko, raising the possibility that by aligning themselves they could restore Haruhiko's power. With newfound determination, Haruhiko summoned Marchosias, and together with his comrades, they launched an attack against Enigma, ultimately emerging victorious. To their immense relief, Haruhiko's mother regained consciousness, marking the end of their harrowing battle. Well, that's all for now. Make sure to like and subscribe for more anime recap videos. Comment down below for more recap videos.